Hey, it's good to see you again, my friend. Welcome to the second series, the second season of ASMR Watercolor. It's good to be back with you. I'm really happy to be back, invited into your home again, and I'm really hoping to share a few new things with you. Anyway, while I'm getting started here, all the names of the colors are going to be flashing across the screen so you know exactly what I'm using. And we're going to do something very fun today. We're going to do something a little more different than what we usually do. We're gonna paint a little bit of a portrait, and oh, I know that's gonna be real stressful, just a little bit, but it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Now, what we want to do, we're gonna get out one flat brush, okay, and then we're gonna get out a round brush. Flat brush. I like to use the flat brush for just putting water in. The flat brush is a little better for painting water than it is for actually painting things, although it has its uses when we paint things. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into the phthalo blue and the quinacridone magenta, and we're just going to get ourselves a little bit of both of them. We want an even mix because this sky, we always start with the sky. Now whenever you start with a painting, you always want to ask yourself, especially with a landscape, what's the first thing I should do? And the first thing that you really want to do is you want to start with the sky. It makes it so much easier. Okay? Now don't be afraid to use a little bit of water in here. We got to mix up a lot of color. Because we got a nice amount of sky here to paint, don't we? Yeah, we do. But just be sure you get that middle blue color. You get just enough quinacridone magenta in there so that we mix a middle blue. And the reason that we're mixing that instead of just using, say, an ultramarine blue is because, well, we got to pay attention to pigment texture, right? And when we pay attention to pigment texture, that means that what we're doing is taking a look at what we're painting and deciding, does it need a certain kind of texture? Does it need to be granular or should it be softer? If you want to smoother, then, well, you want to use a color that doesn't granulate. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint all this. We're getting a little bit of water. That's just one of the hazards. One of the trials and tribulations, I should say, of painting with your paper completely upright like this. When you paint your painting at home, when you're doing your watercolor painting, you almost definitely should not do it like this. You know what this is? This is an absolute madman's way of painting. Yeah, you don't want to paint like this. This is stressful is what this is. This is too much. But I paint it like this so you have a better idea of what I'm doing. Okay, now just with the sky alone, we're going to cover a lot of ground here. We're going to cover a lot of area. Okay, so it's going to be a pretty good exercise here. Now, you don't have to try real hard when you paint the sky. And oftentimes when I'm painting, at least when I'm using the flat brush here, I'm using a synthetic brush. A natural hair brush contains a lot more water, or it can hold a lot more water, whereas the synthetic brush doesn't hold much water at all, which is one of the reasons I don't like it as much. But like I say, it has its uses, and some people like synthetic brushes, so you got to use whatever works for you. Me, I prefer natural hair brushes because I find it a lot easier to paint with the natural hairs. Okay, let's go ahead, and what you want to do, you want to start at the top like this. Okay, yeah, you want to start at the top like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to, well, hopefully, if the paper is wet enough, this color will do a lot of the work. It'll just bleed down. Okay, but if the paper is very absorbent, like this paper here, if you use cheap paper, you're going to find that a lot of it is very absorbent, and it might have a kind of an unpleasant texture to it. It might. You never know. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. Okay. I'm just kind of smoothing it out, and covering the entire area with this. Okay. And I'm leaving the areas around the figure here unpainted. Now, we got a nice little outline here. What we want to do is get out just a nice piece toilet paper. What I'm using is just cheap stuff you find at pretty much every every place that sells industrial grade supplies like this is gonna have what you need. This is just the cheap stuff that you get. Ooh, you know what we want to do? I'm gonna wet that a little bit. There it goes. Ooh. That's how you do it. And this is what I'm doing. I'm just dabbing at random at this point. Now I'm going to leave a little bit more at the top here. You'll notice that as I'm painting this, there's going to be a lot of different cloud shapes. And you don't have to try very hard. You just lay down the color and then you dab at it. And if you want to take off a little bit more color along the way, feel free to. Feel free to. Okay? That's really all there is to it. This is really all there is to it. You see how easily you crumple the paper up and then you just tap it at various intervals until you got just the right amount of cloud you want. It's really all there is to painting clouds in watercolor. You can always get a lot more technical with it and do some various studies of clouds and stuff, but it really doesn't need that much. It doesn't need that much. Now, what I want to do is I want to start with a light color here. I want to start with a little Nicolazo yellow. I'm going to get my big old brush, my big old round brush, and I'm going to go right into my triad mix here. Now, I like to use a triad mix of Nicolazo yellow, quinacridone magenta, and ultramarine blue. Although I can replace the ultramarine with phthalo blue whenever I feel like. The object of it is to get a little bit of a granular feel, and I want a granular feel down here because this is going to be a very sandy area. Very sandy area. Okay, so let's take our flat brush again and go up in here. Yeah, we're going to wet these areas right here, and then we're going to wet these areas over here. And let me just position my paper a little bit. Sometimes as you're painting, the paper shifts, especially when you put it on an easel like this. Like I say, this is a crazy man's way of painting. This is not something any sane person should ever do when they paint in watercolor. When you angle your paper, you can lay it however you want. You can put it like this if you really want to. I don't recommend it, but you can do that. You can also lay it completely flat. Or you can put it at, say, a 45-degree angle. Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. Now, like I say, I don't know that I would recommend painting like this, but some people might enjoy this. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, so I'm just going to cover all this area right here. And I'm going to, the way I'm doing this sometimes gets a little messy because I try to be quick. That's not the best thing in the world. You want to try to do it well, not do it too fast, but hey, I do what I can. Now, you don't want to crumple this one up. What you want to do is you want to take a flat side of all this, okay? And you kind of want to just lift it this way. All right? And now I'm lifting just a little bit of color. There. And if I want, I can smooth this out a little bit, take off a little bit extra texture. Here's what I can do too. I can go up here, go back down and create a few more things down there. Maybe, do I want to go up in here? No, I don't think I want to go up in there. I think I've done enough. We've already got enough suggestion of some value in there. And that's really all we have to do. Okay? Okay. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of, well, I was about to say white, but really what I'm doing is adding a little bit of water to my color. Got a little bit of oil paint on me. Must have some leftovers from painting the other day. I use this French easel here to paint a lot of times. Okay, I'm just going to go into this house here. And there's a couple of different ways I could paint that. I could have taken my flat brush and gone in there like that, but I didn't. I know, that was kind of a silly move, wasn't it? Making things harder than they need to be. Don't I know? Alright. Now we'll go right here. I'm going to paint this little house right here. Okay. Let's... There. I'm not going to get real complicated with the house here, but I do want to just note a few things like that. We'll go ahead and mix up another brown color, because I feel like I could use it. And then we'll go right in here and lift that a little bit, because that'll create a little bit of value right there. Okay, is this dry yet? Is this dry? Ooh, it feels pretty dry. It feels pretty dry. Well, let me show you a little bit of a secret. A little bit of secret to what I do. For a nice base flesh tone color, let's get a little bit, just a little bit of nickel, not nickel azo yellow, but pyro orange. Okay? And you know what we're going to do. You know what we're going to do. We're going to take our flat brush, the wash brush, okay? And I'll just insert some water. I'll insert it down in here, because wherever her skin's showing is where I want to do this. Alright. Yeah, wherever the skin is showing, that's where we're going to insert our pyro orange. Because if you add a lot of water to that pyro orange, you're going to have yourself a nice peachy flesh color. It's kind of a salmon color. It's very pretty. You'll see it in a second. Can't wait to show it to you. I'm getting a little excited about it too. I don't know if you could tell. Okay, let's go ahead and just get a little bit more. You want to be real careful with that pyro orange too, because it's so strong. It's so strong and it stains so much. So be extra careful. Now, here's what I'm going to do. There it goes. There it goes. Ooh, yeah. Okay. And remember, if you're using absorbent paper, be quick. Be fast. Because absorbent paper, ooh, it'll suck that water right up. Goodness me. Goodness me. Okay. That's looking nice. That's looking nice. Alright. And we'll go right here. A lot of this is going to be draped in shadow. So, that's something to keep in mind when we're painting this. But there's going to be a couple of areas where we're definitely going to see what she looks like. Okay. At least in the sun. Alright. So we got a lot of that. Now let's try and focus on the rest of this house over here. Okay. And I think that I'm going to add just a little bit of the ultramarine in here to what I was doing. Yeah, there it goes. There it goes. Yeah. Then we'll add a little bit of the quinacridone magenta. Okay, I think I got a color that I like right here. So let's go ahead and just set it down right in here. There it goes. There. Now, right here. This is where the other house is going to be, right there. Okay? That was very easy. Very, very easy. And I got, while that's drying, let's go ahead and get the script liner, because I got a dark color here that I could use. And this dark color, it's just a color that I like to use a lot. It's a little bit of pyro orange and phthalo blue in about even amounts. Maybe a little bit more of the pyro orange. Maybe a little bit more. Okay? And we'll just add this little detail right here. And this little detail right here. I'll get a little bit more water. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, because a lot of times when you do this sort of thing, the script liner runs out of water. And since this is off in the distance, I want this to be a little softer. There. Now, it's not going to go completely away because we just used two very staining colors. And the point of that was to get us a little bit of darkness in there so that we can see the details a little better. Here, I'm going to add a little bit of pyro orange to my mix here and add it on top of this right here. Just like this. Just like that. There. And what can we do? We can soften that a little bit. Again. We soften that a little bit, and that's really all there is to that one. Now we can go ahead and add just a little bit of detail down in here. Okay. There. There it goes. And now I'm going to put that brush aside. We only want to use that brush when we need to get some really small details. Really tight details. That's what that's good for. Most of the time you want to use a round that's either really big or maybe a little smaller. That way you get things done a lot faster. It's a lot easier to get things done with a bigger brush. Let me tell you. Oh, these brushes, they've got me through a lot of paintings. And I do a lot of painting. I paint just about every day. Sometimes life, sidetracks you and all that, but most of the time, yeah, I do a lot of painting. Boy, do I ever. Well, you know how it is. When you do what you love, then you do it whenever you can. And, some people don't enjoy actually painting. Some people just enjoy watching painting. And if you're one of those who just enjoys watching painting, and you're visiting with me, and spending some time with me, then I appreciate it. I'm just as glad to have you here, and thank you for watching. But to people who are hoping to learn how to paint maybe a little bit, well, that's why I'm here, to help you out a little bit, to show you what you can do, show you how you can paint. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to lay in some very flat washes with just a green color here. And I want to use, what do I want to use? I want to use a little bit of, I'm going to get some of this Nicolazo yellow and ultramarine. Now greens, you have to decide, do you want pigment texture? And I feel like I do want texture out here because this feels like a nice textural kind of painting. Now this color that I'm about to use, I'm going to use a little bit, just a little bit more Nicolazo yellow to the ultramarine. Okay? That's all there is to it. Now let's go ahead here. And we're just going to lay down that flat wash, like I said. Lay down the flat wash. Don't overthink it. Just lay it down. Let's go ahead and cover it right there. And then over here, we'll set this down too. Okay. There. It doesn't look like much now, but that's why we have the sponges. I don't know if I told you. I don't remember. But I have a natural sponge here. Oop, I got a couple of pieces that I tore off. You don't want to use the whole big piece like this. You can, but it's a little harder to use. You want to tear pieces off of it. Like this. A little piece like this. Maybe you bunch it up and you twist it all different ways. And I drop both of them. Oops, butterfingers. I had another piece of sponge around here. I'm wondering what I did with it. I don't know. I'll have to take a look later and see if I can find that other piece because, boy, that piece was really working for me. I really liked it. Oh well. Sometimes you lose things. Alright. Sidetracked here. Let's go ahead and lift some of this right here. There. Now the reason I'm lifting that is because it's a little too dark right there. I want to save the darkness for when I put the second layer on, all right? Okay, now let's go ahead with this and throw down a few more things in here. Okay, just like that. All right. Like I say, we're going to keep it pretty flat here. And actually, we can go ahead and maybe just embellish a bunch of things over here to the side, because it's really less important. It's really less important what's actually going on behind her. It's really not as important. I know that might take you for a trip, but really, it's true. It's just not as important. It's not as important. Ooh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to add a little bit of this tile orange down here on her arm. Here, let me do that real quick while I'm thinking about it. Here. Okay. That's all there is there. That's good. Perfect. That wasn't that easy. Yeah, I'd say that was pretty easy. All right. Now let's go ahead and mix up a little bit of a darker color here. You know what I think I want? I think I want a little bit. Here, let me rinse off my brush a little better. Here it goes. I think I want a little bit of nickel azo yellow and quinacridone magenta in there. And I'm going to get some blue. Yeah, I'm going to get some blue. Yeah. In fact, we'll go over here to the green mix. Now, I don't know if I've showed this to you recently. I did show you last season, but I have two colors in almost every well on my palette. And the reason I have two colors next to each other is so it makes it very easy for me to mix the colors together. I can just throw my brush in there to the color that I'm aiming for and mix them here on the palette. So I just throw it into a well that has a little bit of phthalo blue and quinacridone magenta, and I can mix a violet to whatever color I want. It's very, very easy and oh so convenient. Now let's go ahead here. Let's go ahead and, well, I think we should probably add a little bit more color than we think we need. It's always a good rule to create a little bit more color than we think we need. Now, remember, we want this to be a little darker, okay? All right. Now I'm bunching up my sponge. I got it all bunched up like this. It's kind of like turning it into a stamp. All right? And then you just go over to where you want to add some darks, and then you just press them in. That's really all there is to it. Okay. Isn't that nice? Here, we'll add one more. There, that's probably about good. Yeah, that's about all we need. Okay. Right there. It's so easy to add little shadows like that. That's really all you have to do. That's all you have to do. And the reason that we use the sponge like this is because there's lots of little separations, lots of little spaces in the sponge. And what those spaces do is they create this mottled effect, this irregular effect that makes it look very, very natural when we just stamp them in like this. So we can make lots and lots of foliage very easily. And look how easily we just created a whole bunch of foliage. Now isn't that wonderful? Oh, that's so nice. Here, I'm gonna take my liner brush here, and we're gonna get just a little something over here because I want to get a little phthalo blue in my mix here. I'm gonna add just a touch of the pyrrole to it. Not a lot. I'm gonna keep this kind of a dark blue color, and we're gonna go over here. Just like that. Okay. Okay, that was easy. There. That couldn't have been any easier, I swear. Now, let's look for the lightest colors on here. Now, we've already painted a few of the lightest colors. Alright? So, what I'm going to look for now is her general flesh tone color. Now, what I want is to get a lot of my, I want to get a lot of the pyrrole, not the pyrrole, but the quinacridone magenta and the nickel azo yellow. And I want them to be about even amounts, okay? We're looking for kind of an orangish color. An orangish color that's not got a lot of ultramarine in it, but it might have a little bit. It might have a little bit. Just a little bit, okay? Okay. Now, after I've got enough water in here, what I'll do is I'll go in and just paint this. And this is the moment of truth. We're going to test it down here to see how this color looks, because if it doesn't, oh boy, if it doesn't work, then at least we've only painted the arm and not the whole thing, right? Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. We might want to add a little bit more water to that, though, because oh boy. All right, now what we're gonna do? We're gonna cover this whole thing like this. Okay. There. And this is the point where you want to be very careful, because since this is a portrait, this is going to be the focal point of your piece. So I'm being very careful. And your flesh tone may be a little darker than you really intend it to be. A lot of this is going to depend on context. So use your best judgment here. If you think it's too dark, go ahead and take off some color. If you think it's not dark enough, well, add a little bit more. See, painting's real easy like that. We can just take it away or add it. It's a little harder to take things away in watercolor, but while the paint is still wet, it's very doable. I'm going to get right up at that lip there. Okay? I don't want to paint over the lip. All right. Okay. There. Now that we've added that, we've got a general flesh tone color that's just about right. It's very natural, and it's good to go. Now that's looking a little better. And now when we paint around this with our darker mix, because now we're going to add a lot more blue to what we're doing. We're going to add a lot of ultramarine. A lot of ultramarine. And when you add your ultramarine to the mix that you were just using, the reason we're using ultramarine is because skin has kind of a, if you look at it, it's got all kinds of things going on. It's got pores and hairs and, well, yeah, there's lots of damage on skin and stuff, sun damage and all that. So really what you're doing is trying to make an approximation using just a little bit of pigment texture here to suggest things. And that texture is going to suggest, it's going to suggest what you're going to do next. It's going to suggest the skin tones in here and all the textures there. And okay, now what I want to do, well, I'm going to get just a little bit more of the nickel azo yellow in here. All right. And we'll check and make sure this is dry. It's very absorbent. It feels a little cool right now. So while we're waiting for that, I just want to mix something that's a little more yellowish, because the skin on an older person might have a little bit of a thinner look to it, so it's got a little bit more of a yellowish hue in some cases, whereas younger skin tends to have more of a pinker vibe to it. Yeah, more of a pink look to it. Just something to note. Now let's see. I'm going to leave my brush over there, but while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and mix up another color. I'm going to take. Let's see. I'm going to take. You know what I want? I want kind of a greenish color, but I want it to be very dull. I want it to be very dull, very dull. A little bit like the sand here. I guess in a sense it's going to be kind of the same color. So we're going to use a lot of the ultramarine and nickel hazel yellow on this one. Ooh, that's going to make for a nice color. That's going to make for a nice one. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's wonderful. Okay. We can go ahead and let's go ahead and get our flat brush here and go ahead and wet this paper here. Now, wetting the paper, I do this a lot of the time. I don't always do it, but it's one thing I do because one of the things about watercolor is you really want to try at least to paint wet and wet, because it's really what makes watercolor so, well, watercolory. And it's one of the joys of the medium. It's something that it's really hard to do in other mediums. You can kind of do it in oil paint by adding a lot of thinner or a lot of oils and stuff, but it's not really the same. I've seen people approximate the effects, but it just doesn't work as well as, wetting a paper in watercolor and then painting wet and wet. That's what this is called, wet and wet. This is really wet and wet because we're actually wetting the paper. Now it's easy to lose track of how dry the paper gets. This is a very absorbent paper that I'm working on. Okay. Now let's see here. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Ooh, that's nice. All right. So her shirt here is going to be a very green color. So I'm going to paint this whole bad boy just like this. Old Thelma here, she's on vacation. She didn't give a hoot about nothing. She's just on her merry way, observing the sights. Did I call her Thelma? I meant to call her Louise because I named her Louise. You know what it is I keep thinking of that movie with, what is it, Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon. I love that movie. Yeah, I keep thinking of Thelma whenever I think of Louise. So it's the funniest thing like that. It's like I keep wanting to call her one name and then I call her another. Just watch, if I named her Thelma, I'd be calling her Louise. But anyway, we got Louise here, and we're painting her very nicely. We got this shirt just about all figured out there. Now, what I'm gonna do? You see this coming, don't you? You know what's coming. You know what's coming. We'll go ahead and just lift a little bit right there. Okay. There. That's all there is to it. Now, of course, we're going to go back in and paint a few more things later. But right now, we got some nice texture on her shirt there from just laying this toilet paper across there and painting it like that. It's fascinating when things like that work that way. I don't know. It's just really interesting. Okay. Now, what we can do, right now we got this real yellow hue here. Add a little bit more water, I think. There. And I'm going to pay special attention here to what I'm doing around this neck area. There it goes. Okay. Now we'll leave a spot here showing so that we see her chin. We'll leave another spot down there. Okay. There it goes. And then I'll go ahead and paint this entire face just like this. Okay. Now, like I say, you want to be fast. Don't be a slowpoke. Get it done as fast as you can. I don't want to rush you, but I have to. because you only have so much time when you're painting like this. You can't afford to go and lollygag and take a break and go have a cup of coffee and all that. This isn't an oil painting. We have to be very quick. So let's tear off a piece of this. And what I got here was a little much. So just like that. There. Okay. Now we're going to focus on getting some more pink in her face at this point, because, well, she definitely needs a little bit more pink. So we'll take what we were working with, add a little bit more of the Nicolazo yellow and the quinacridone magenta. I'm going to add a healthy amount of quinacridone magenta in there, and that should about do it. That should really get things going. I'm going to look for kind of an orange color at this point. Feel her face there. And while that's drying, you know what we can do? We can go ahead and take, let's take the big brush here and go in with a little bit. What I want to do, I want to add a little bit of the quinacridone magenta into the color that we were using earlier. Okay. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to just add some folds here under her clothing. Okay. There it goes. Here's this. Okay. And we'll follow all the little folds in here, and we'll go ahead and do this. There it goes. There it goes. And of course, use your best judgment here. If there's any place that you think you need to add or soften, go right ahead. There it goes. Okay. Add that. I'll add this. Perfect. All right. Now let's soften this a little bit. And all right, now we'll go ahead, just add a couple strokes down here like that. Another stroke right here. And maybe we'll take a couple more little things in here. There. And soften those a little bit. There it goes. Ooh, yeah. Well, now we're having fun, right? Yeah. Oh, it's always a lot more fun when you're finally creating the painting and it's just taking shape. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's good stuff right there. I don't care who you are. That shirt is looking a little nicer by the minute. Okay, let's maybe take a little bit off right there. And ooh, I don't know. Okay. There. That's good. We don't have to do too much more to that. All right. Now, like I was saying, with my little orange mix, I'm going to take myself right here. Okay. I'll go down in here. There it goes. going down right here. Maybe we got a patch of color right here. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we got something going right here. There. Okay. And maybe we got a few things going on here. Yeah, let's soften this a little bit. Okay. All right. And we'll take some of the color that we were using and go down in here. Because right about in here, just like this. When I have to do fine detail, you'll notice that I don't add water like I did earlier. And the reason I don't do that is because it's going to be much harder to get all those fine details in if I add a bunch of water. So I don't do that. If I add water, it's just going to create a big old mess. It's going to make the painting a lot harder to work with, and it's just not going to be a lot of fun for anybody at that point. Here, let's go ahead and just get a little bit more right in here, maybe. Yeah. Maybe we got some things happening in here. There. Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. Okay. And we'll dip that little dab like this. Now Louise here. I've met her a few times. She is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. Sometimes I think about her and wonder how she's doing. I haven't seen her in a while. But I hope she's doing well. I hope a lot of people are doing well, but right now I'm thinking about her. Okay, I'll just go into her lips right here and give her a little something. Maybe she's wearing a little... Yeah, maybe we got a little bit of something right here. That's better. That's better. Okay. Now maybe we'll go into our green color, or the greenish color that we were using earlier. Just had a couple of accents here and there. Like this one right here, and this one right here, and yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll go right here, just like that. And get a little something in there. Perfect. Oh, this is looking very nice. Okay. There. That's better. Okay. All right. Let's take a look now. Let's take a look at maybe, ooh, how's her face doing? Yeah, it's looking all right. Feels all right too. So let's go ahead and what I think I want to do is add just a little bit more. Add just a little bit more of that quinacridone magenta to the mix with what we're using. All right? And I'm going to be sure to dilute it down a little bit. Otherwise, this might be a little too much. Okay. Here it goes. Now maybe we'll go down in here and add a couple of things going down into her face like this. I don't know. Every time you think that I know something, just ask yourself, or say to yourself, yeah, what does he know? Because honestly, it's the truth. Because sometimes I wonder if I know what I'm doing. A lot of the answer is, sometimes yes, sometimes no, I don't know. I just like to go in here and show you how you could paint, not how you should paint. Remember that. It's really what I like to do. Okay? Okay, we got a few things down in here that we want to try to... Okay. We'll just get a little bit of that flesh in there. Okay. There it goes. Now, like I say, be quick. Some of these things you do, may find yourself in hot water if you don't act quickly. Okay. Now this face is already starting to take a little bit of shape here. Isn't that great? Yeah, it sure is. It always feels good when, you paint a picture like this and it gradually comes together. Well, hopefully when you paint it, it quickly comes together, but sometimes a little bit of waiting is inevitable. Okay. You can see a lot of individual little wrinkles and things on her face where, she's just getting a little older. Old Louise here. She's been around a while. She's seen some things. Like a lot of people, she's had a tough life. Maybe she's seen people come and go. Maybe she's loved and lost. I don't know. I think in each person we see a little bit of ourselves. At least I think so. And maybe you think so too. I don't know. Just like that. Yeah. There. Well, we probably don't need to do too much more to her like that. But what I will do is take a little bit of my ultramarine and my pyrrole, mix those together very quickly, and right down here I'm going to add just a little bit of a shadow on her shirt. It extends from her shoulder over here all the way to right here. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. There. Now we've got a little bit of a shadow that's being cast down on her shirt just like this. It's just making this piece ever so much more interesting. You have to be a little careful when you do, say, a backlit piece like this because, well, I'll tell you right now, it's not an easy thing to do, a backlit piece. Now we're going to take a little bit of the pyro and the phthalo blue here, and I'm just going to set that down like this, okay? For her sunglasses. And her sunglasses are going to be really dark. They're going to be really dark. But also there's going to be a couple of things going on in there. It's not all going to be just, you know, there, it's done. No, you got to spend a little bit of time with this. That's how you do it. Okay. And we'll go over here. Look at that. You can see her face gradually coming together. Oh, I'm loving it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take a little bit off the edge there because I don't want that going down into her nose. I want to keep her looking nice. So we'll just take a little off the edge like that so that we don't have to worry about it too much now. All right. That's a relief, right? Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's a big old relief. All right. I'm going to take pretty much the same green color we were using. I'll add a little bit of the nickel azo yellow. All right. Lots of white on this one. Well, white. Lots of water, I should say. I know sometimes I forget, oh yes, I'm using watercolor. Because, you know, I use a couple of different mediums. But even though I say the wrong word, I still know what I'm doing. I still have the right idea in mind. I'm not adding white, I'm adding water. And remember, water effectively functions as the white in watercolor. Okay. Well, now that we got a lot of this done, let's go ahead and take a look and see if we can get a nice gray going on in all this. What do you think we want to do with the hair? I think that what I want to do is create a little bit of a grayish color using our triad mix, our ultramarine and our quinacridone magenta and our nickel azo yellow. It's always a good decision, I think. Although it can be a little challenging sometimes. Okay. We're tending to get a little bit of a brown color here. I'm not looking for a brown color, really. So I might need to add a lot more. Blue to this. Okay. Alright, I think we've got a dark color we can use. That might be a little greenish, so let's add a little bit. Still a little greenish. Okay, now we can add a little bit more blue. Okay. That's about good. At some point, you got to stop yourself from over mixing so that you don't drive yourself crazy. Now. what I'm going to do, where's my big old brush? There it is. Okay, what I want to do, I'm going to take a lot of water onto this yellow that we used for both the shirt and the brim of her visor here. And I'm just going to, you know what I want to do? I'm going to just set this in right here. Yeah, like that. I'm going to do a big old wash right all over her hair here. Oops. Oh boy, that happens sometimes. Yeah, be careful. This is why I tell you. You got to be careful when you paint like this. Because sometimes the color will just drip right off. And, you know, your tools got funny ideas about the way things are going to go. So they'll try to wreck your whole day, but you don't let them. You take control of those tools. There. Now keep it very light. I'm keeping it very, very light. But I'm also simplifying her hair a little bit. She's a little older. The sun is shining down on it. Her hair is more or less gray, but it's got a little bit of color on there from the highlight. So it's interesting to note that. It's just very interesting. All right. Here's what we can do. We'll go back in right here. We've got that. Now let me take my liner brush and I'm gonna go and get, here we'll go ahead and just throw some more right down there. There it goes. There, that's good. That's about good, I think. I don't have to fool around that anymore. Fool around any more than that, it's just gonna get too busy. Here, let's go ahead and add her flesh tone right there, and add her flesh tone right here. A little fold for her skin. Okay. Maybe another detail right here. Okay. Then we'll add a little something here for her ear so that sticks out, just like that. We'll go in here. Okay. Just like this. Oh yeah, that's looking nice. Maybe we'll add some lines for her face in here. Yeah, just a little something like that. Cool. Oh, it's great. It's the greatest feeling in the world when things come together like this. I'm just feeling so happy that this painting is turning out so well, honestly. Okay, here's what we can do. We can take a little bit of ultramarine here. And get a little bit more. I'm trying to get it on my liner brush here, and it's not cooperating. There. We're just going to slap this color in right here. Color on this visor here. There it goes. Okay. Alright. Now, let's say we get just a little bit of her mouth right here. Maybe it extends all the way over this way. Yeah, there it goes. She's maybe got a little bit of a confused look on her face, and ooh, I don't know. Maybe, well, we should leave this to dry. We don't want things to drip, do we? No, of course not. Of course not. That would be silly. Okay. Well, with that, let's feel this, and ooh, this is feeling pretty dry. That's feeling pretty dry, so let's take our flat brush. Let me make sure I don't have any paint on it. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, what I like to do in these kinds of instances where we have bushes or rocks or anything that requires dry brushing, because we're going to dry brush her hair, we splay the bristles out like this. Just like this. We splay them out. Okay? And then once we have that separation, we dip the brush into the paint. You want to pre-mix the paint and dip it in. Okay? And then you want to maybe angle the brush a little bit. You're going to get some pain in your hands doing this, but it's alright. It's alright. Here's what we do. Okay? Here. You just let that separation do all the work. Okay? Just like that. Just like that. Don't fight it. Just let it happen. Let it happen. Okay? That's really all there is to it. Okay? Remember, let it happen. Let it happen. Okay? And maybe you want to go a little further out this way. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. Okay? Let it happen. Okay. And we'll give it a couple more strokes like that. And with this, I believe we might have our hair done. You couldn't do a better job at the salon, Louise, I swear. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, we can just keep layering this until we get exactly what we're looking for. Alright. There it goes. Go up here too. Okay. That's looking good. That's looking good. Alright, alright, alright. So now, let me take our dark color. This is just the pyrrole and the phthalo. We can go down in here, all over all this. You know, you can cover up whatever you need to cover up. It's not a big deal. And we'll paint the rest of her visor here. There. Just like that. And maybe we need to get a little bit more of the phthalo in there. Because maybe this needs to be a little bit darker. Maybe it's getting a little too violet. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Here. Yeah, there it goes. Alright, now here. We'll just keep that pretty dark in there. Okay. Go around the brim here. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Feeling pretty good. How wet is that? Ooh, that's still a little wet. What about this? It's still pretty wet too. You know what? Here's what we can do. We can go down here. Maybe we'll just add a little something right there. Alright. Ooh, you know what I forgot? You know what I forgot? I forgot to get her hair down here, too. There. That's better. Yeah, I feel a lot better about that now. Ooh, ooh, yes. You know, as you keep going, you see all kinds of little things you forget. Like, you know, maybe you want to get a little something right there, maybe something right there too. Just to let people know, hey, yeah, there's a color here. Okay. And ooh, I don't know. Maybe we'll go right here. Maybe get a little brim of her visor like that. And is this dry yet? Oh, it's getting pretty dry. It's probably dry enough. Here, we'll take some color right here. Go right into this. And we'll take it down to about here. There it goes. 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 Okay, maybe we'll just add a little something there. A little something here too. This is the point where we're making all the last minute decisions. We're wrapping things up. Because old Louise here, she's got to go to lunch. She's been walking for a while. She's been getting her steps in. She's been walking all up and down this little beach here. She's hungry. She's been at it for a few hours now. This isn't a light walk. She's really getting her exercise today. Good for her, right? Man, what I wouldn't give to get some exercise right now. Alright, I'm just going to color this a little bit. And I think we might be able to leave. We might be able to leave it at that. Well, I know I spoke too soon, but let's go ahead here. Like that. Let's get one more in there. I just wanted to get one more. Here. And I'm going to lift that just a little bit. There it goes. Just wanted to darken that a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. And with that, I think we can about make some decisions about how final this piece is. Here, we'll go ahead and give this a little bit of an outline like this. There. That's good. That's good. All right, let's go ahead and go into our color we don't usually use. This is Pyrrole Red. It's very thick, very opaque red. And I'm just gonna sign my name. You can sign your name anywhere you want, but put it someplace where it's not gonna be super noticeable. And then what you do, you sign it the same way every time, so that people know it's you. I'm just gonna put my initials, SK, and that's it. You can put your whole name, first name, last name, completely different name, whatever name you want. That is how I know the painting's finished. Oh, my friend, I really hope you enjoyed this. The first portrait, really, that we've done on this series, and it's been quite a doozy, I think. It's very challenging, and I think that you're going to really enjoy it if you try it for yourself. Anyway, my friend, I will see you again soon. And until next time, with love from me to you, bye-bye.